Hi there.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, audience. Very good. Tonight I'm going to be talking to you about pet overpopulation. How many of you have been to an animal shelter and seen the deplorable conditions a lot of these animals live in? Not to mention the overabundance of animals, which is the overcrowding that is taking place right now, the overpopulation. What I want to do is talk to you a little bit and help you understand what the vicious cycle looks like of how these animals wind up in these very shelters. We're going to talk a little bit about the puppy breeders and pet stores, which are referred to as puppy mills, the overcrowding of animal shelters and the preventable euthanizations, and also talk a little bit about increasing awareness, education, and funding. Funding for no-kill shelters, the ones that are in it for the animals themselves. The first thing I want to do is touch on these pet stores, the puppy mills, and the pet breeders. A lot of these are in it mainly for profit. A lot of them make false claims of being AKC certified. And that's American Kennel Club. These certifications garner a lot of wows. Wow, if they're certified, they must be pure. This must be a great animal. The breeders and pet stores, these puppy mills, increase their costs for these animals as a result of these certifications, thus putting more money in their pockets. Sadly, these very animals lack the veterinary care that they desperately need, leading to very sick animals. These animals become very sick, and what happens is you walk into the pet store to this pet breeder, you purchase this animal, take them home, and they're very sick. Now, you have to bring this animal, your new lifelong companion you just purchased, bring him to the vet. The veterinary costs rise. The allure has worn off. You can no longer afford to take care of the animal. Well, what do? Of course, you go to the animal shelter and drop them off. Or worse, you abandon the animal, let them run the streets to be picked up by animal services to just be brought right into an animal shelter, increasing to the overpopulation. That said, again, abandonment is leading to the overcrowding, the overpopulation in these shelters. The shelters just don't have the space to effectively care for these animals. Small cages, large cages, animals are just pushed into these cages, just pushing them to capacity. The shelters, at times, have reached full capacity. Can't take any new animals. Well, because of lack of funding, lack of staffing, these animals aren't provided with the necessary care, the veterinary care. Feedings are far and few between. The sad reality for these animals is euthanization is sometimes a more humane outcome than them living in these shelters themselves. Unacceptable. It can't happen. It can't happen. Spay and neutering services are an essential need for these shelters too, but they don't have the funding to go ahead and provide these services. They just can't. Spay and neutering will reduce the amount of animals to just have this cycle perpetuated over and over and over. A few bits of information I thought are very striking I wanted to share. Per the American Humane Association, 7 to 20% of pets are no longer in their new home after 6 months. Unacceptable. Per PETA, 6 million dogs and cats are abandoned in the United States each year. That goes back to everything I just talked about. For profit or adoption. These are lifelong companions. They deserve your love and affection and to be cared for, not to be discarded when the allure wears off. Again, don't pay for animals. Let's take the money out of their pockets, adopt, put the money in the shelter's pockets. It's a small fee. Spay and neuter. Spay and neutering services are relatively inexpensive and a very humane way to go ahead and thwart the ever-growing population of abandoned animals and sheltered animals. You know what? We need to keep in mind that, a lot of times I hear, well, Jonathan, if we spay and neuter all animals, then we're going to run out of animals. Well, I say to you, until this number of animals significantly decreases in shelters, then we need to continue spaying and neutering and make sure that we thwart this never-ending cycle of abandoned animals from continuing. We need to understand the responsibilities of being a responsible pet owner. We also need to demand funding for our no-kill shelters and provide them with the veterinary services that they so desperately need. To recap, We talked about puppy breeders and pet stores, the puppy mills, the high purchase costs and lack of veterinary care, which leads to overcrowding of animal shelters and the preventable euthanizations. Spay and neutering services are a necessity, which ultimately should lead to us becoming increasingly more aware, educating ourselves, and for funding of these no-kill shelters in it for the animals. Be responsible pet owners, adopt, don't buy, and let's demand that funding for these no-kill shelters. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great night.
Hey.